The chamber was larger than any structure humans had ever built. Ambassador Marcus Cole stood at the center of the vast hall, watching as thousands of alien beings filled the seats that stretched upward in every direction. The ceiling showed the stars themselves, galaxies spinning overhead in real time. This was the heart of galactic power. Humanity was about to face judgment. Cole kept his hands behind his back, his face calm. Beside him stood his small team of 12 humans. They looked tiny in this massive space, surrounded by creatures from worlds humanity had only dreamed about months ago. There were beings made of crystal that hummed with inner light. Massive creatures covered in armor plates, floating entities that seemed to exist partly in shadow. All of them were here to decide Earth's fate. The High Chancellor rose from his seat at the front of the chamber. His name was Voroth, and he belonged to a species called the Centaurians. He had 4 eyes that glowed with anger as he looked down at the humans. His voice boomed through the hall, translated instantly into every language spoken by the assembled species. "For 3 years we have watched humanity," Voroth said. "For 3 years we have given them a chance to prove they could follow our laws. They have failed at every turn." Cole remained still, but his mind was racing. His team had predicted this moment. They had prepared for it. Behind his calm exterior, he was counting down the seconds until the real show began. "Humans build colonies on forbidden worlds," Voroth continued. "They terraform planets without asking permission. They create artificial intelligence, which breaks our oldest laws. They refuse to share their faster-than-light technology with us for study. And worst of all, they experiment with dimensional physics, risking the safety of the entire galaxy." Images appeared in the air above Cole's head. They showed human research stations, military bases, and construction projects in deep space. The evidence looked damning. The assembled species made sounds of alarm. Some released chemicals that smelled of fear. Others began rhythmic patterns of noise that translated as concern. "The evidence is clear," Voroth declared. "Humanity is dangerous. They do not respect our traditions. They do not follow our rules. They threaten everything we have built over 20,000 years of galactic peace." Finally, Cole spoke. His voice was quiet, but it carried to every corner of the enormous chamber. "May we respond to these charges, High Chancellor?" "Your words mean nothing, human. The vote has been called. We will decide your fate now." Cole smiled slightly. It was not a friendly smile. Of course, democracy at work. The voting began. One by one, species announced their decision. Red lights appeared for those voting to exile humanity. Blue lights for those who wanted humans to stay. Cole watched the count climb higher and higher. His team stood perfectly still, showing no emotion as the galaxy turned against them. The final count appeared in the air. 8,347 votes for exile. Only 1,653 votes against. The chamber erupted in noise. Thousands of voices spoke at once, creating a wave of sound that crashed over the human delegation. Voroth raised himself to his full height, towering over the humans far below. "By the power given to this council," he announced, "humanity is exiled from the galactic community. You have 30 standard days to remove all human presence from council space. Any human ships found in our territory after that will be destroyed without warning." The assembled species expected protests. They expected anger, perhaps threats. What they did not expect was for Ambassador Cole to laugh. It was a genuine laugh, full of real amusement. The sound was so unexpected that the chamber fell silent. 30 days? Cole said, still chuckling. "High Chancellor, you misunderstand the situation completely. We will not need 30 days. We will not even need 30 hours. He touched a device on his wrist. "Dr. Okonkwo, please share our current status with the council." A woman stepped forward from Cole's team. She had been looking at a small tablet, seemingly bored by the entire proceeding. Now she looked up with a slight smile. "Certainly, Ambassador. As of this moment, 94% of all human civilian populations have already left council territory. Our military installations finished withdrawing 17 hours ago. Our research stations completed their shutdown and data destruction approximately 4 minutes ago." The silence in the chamber was absolute. No one moved. No one spoke. Vorath stared at the humans, his 4 eyes wide with shock. "What did you say? Oh, did we forget to mention?" Cole's smile grew wider. "We have known about this vote for 3 months. Your security systems are good, High Chancellor, but human intelligence gathering is better. We have been preparing for this outcome since before you even called this assembly." He gestured to the displays floating above. Dr. Okonkwo had somehow taken control of them. New images appeared, all marked with dates and times. They showed massive human colony ships leaving planets throughout Council space, defense stations exploding in controlled demolitions, research facilities going dark one after another. All of it had happened before the vote even took place. "The question today was not whether we would leave," Cole said. "It was whether we would leave on your schedule or ours. We chose ours." He began walking toward the exit. His team followed him in perfect formation. As he passed Vorath's platform, Cole stopped and looked up at the stunned Chancellor. "You wanted us gone because you were afraid of what we might become. I suggest you start worrying about what we already are and what we plan to do next." The massive doors of the chamber opened before them. The human delegation walked out without looking back. Leaving 10,000 species in shocked silence behind them, Vorath stood frozen, staring at the empty space where the humans had been. A young assistant approached him nervously. "Hi, Chancellor. Our sensor networks are reporting something strange. All human vessels in Council space are moving together toward the galactic rim." "Thousands of ships, sir? Colony transports, cargo vessels, military escorts. It is the largest coordinated fleet movement we have ever seen." "Where are they going?" Vorath demanded, his voice shaking. "Unknown, sir. They are heading into unexplored space. Beyond our borders, beyond our sensors. It is as if they already know something is out there. As if they have already found a new home." Vorath looked at the star map, watching as thousands of human ships moved away from Council space like a single living organism. They moved with purpose, with coordination, with absolute certainty about their destination. For the first time in his long life, the High Chancellor felt true fear. The Council had tried to exile humanity, to remove a threat from their territory. Instead, they had set something loose in the galaxy. Something that had been planning and preparing for this moment. Something that knew far more than they had revealed. The humans had not been surprised by the vote. They had been waiting for it, and now they were going somewhere the Council could not follow. To do something the Council could not predict, the vote to exile Earth had passed. Humanity had accepted it without argument. But as Vorath watched those ships disappear into the unknown, he realized that humanity had not lost today. The Council had. Ambassador Marcus Cole stood on the observation deck of the ship called Perseverance, watching as thousands of human vessels emerged from faster-than-light travel. Before them stretched something the Galactic Council had never seen, something humanity had kept hidden for decades. The structure was massive beyond comprehension. A ring of ancient metal and crystal, 10 kilometers in diameter, floating in the void between stars. Energy pulsed through it in patterns that seemed alive, creating a gateway that shimmered with colors that had no names in any human language. This was Station Prometheus, and it was just the beginning of humanity's secret. "All ships reporting successful arrival," said Fleet Admiral James Riker, his weathered face illuminated by the tactical displays. "The rearguard confirms no Council vessels followed us through the jump." Dr. Patricia Okonkwo joined them at the window, her eyes reflecting the light from the ancient structure. "They are afraid to follow. The Council marked this entire region as a dead zone 5,000 years ago. Radiation storms, spatial anomalies, certain death for anyone who enters. At least that is what their maps claim." Cole smiled grimly. But it was all a lie. A fabrication to hide what they found here. "Not what they found," Riker corrected. "What they were afraid to study." The observation deck fell silent as more ships arrived through the gateway. Colony transports carrying millions of civilians. Cargo vessels loaded with equipment and supplies. Military escorts bristling with weapons that combined human engineering with something far older. This was not an evacuation. This was a homecoming. How long have we known? asked a young officer who had joined Cole's staff only weeks ago. Her name was Lieutenant Emma Cross, and she had not been cleared for the full truth until now. Cole turned to face her. 40 years, Lieutenant. 40 years since a colony ship called Venture stumbled into this region during a survey mission. The crew expected to find exactly what Council maps showed: deadly radiation, unstable space. Instead, they found paradise. He gestured to the displays, which now showed dozens of star systems surrounding them. Green markers indicated habitable planets. Blue markers showed resource-rich asteroids and gas giants. Yellow markers revealed something else entirely. These are the gateways, Dr. Okonkwo explained. Pulling up detailed scans. 19 of them scattered throughout this region. Ancient structures built by a civilization that existed before the Council, before any of the current galactic species even evolved. We call them the Architects. Lieutenant Cross stared at the data with growing disbelief. 19. But the Council has strict rules about ancient technology. They would never allow unauthorized research, which is exactly why we never told them, Cole said. The Council's first rule about ancient artifacts is simple. If you find something you do not understand, seal it away. Forbid anyone from studying it. Declare the area off-limits. They have been doing this for thousands of years, and it is why their technology has barely advanced in all that time. But we are humans, Riker added with pride. When we find something we do not understand, we study it. We learn from it. We make it better. The displays changed again, showing the history that had been kept secret from the galaxy. 40 years of careful exploration. Human scientists working in hidden research stations, slowly unlocking the secrets of gateway technology. Engineers building colonies on worlds the Council had never surveyed. Military planners constructing defensive networks using ancient designs that made Council weapons look primitive. The gateways are not just transportation devices, Okonkwo continued. They are multi-dimensional tools. They can move ships instantly across vast distances. They can generate protective shields. They can scan entire star systems in seconds. They can even tap into energy sources that exist in other dimensions. The architects built a network that could connect thousands of worlds, and the Council found it 5,000 years ago. Buried it, Cole finished. Because if other species learned how to use this technology, the Council's monopoly on faster-than-light travel would end. Their control over trade routes would collapse. Their entire power structure would be threatened. So they created false sensor readings to make this region appear deadly. They erased it from their charts. They made it forbidden until we found it, Cross whispered. Until we found it, Cole confirmed. And once we understood what we had discovered, we knew the Council would never allow us to keep it. So we built our new civilization in secret. Every colony ship that claimed to be heading to approved Council territories actually came here. Every research station that appeared on official records had a hidden counterpart in the expanse. Every military vessel we registered with Council authorities had a sister ship hidden beyond their sensors.
No.
The young lieutenant looked overwhelmed. All of this, for 40 years, and the Council never suspected. Oh, they suspected, Riker said darkly. Why do you think they called that vote? They knew humans were hiding something. They knew we were advancing too quickly. They could not prove it, but they felt threatened enough to exile us, which gave us exactly what we needed, Cole added. Permission to leave. Permission to stop pretending we needed their approval. Permission to reveal what we had built. Station Prometheus loomed larger as the Perseverance approached. The ancient gateway ring had been transformed into something new. Human habitation modules attached to the alien structure, like a city built into the bones of a giant. Docking bays that could service 100 ships simultaneously. Research laboratories studying technology that the Council had feared for millennia. Command centers coordinating a civilization that now rivaled the Council itself in scope and power. How many people live here now? Cross asked. In the expanse? Approximately 200 million humans across 50 colony worlds, Okonkwo replied. Plus another 300 million who just arrived from Council space. We have the infrastructure to support billions. We have resources that will last for centuries. We have technology that makes us independent of council, trade, and protection. And they have no idea, Cross said, still processing the magnitude of what she was seeing. They are about to find out, Cole said, pointing to a new contact on the tactical display. We have a visitor. A single ship had appeared at the edge of sensor range. Small, fast, built for reconnaissance. A council scout vessel that had followed the human fleet despite the dangers. Orders? Riker asked, his hand hovering over the weapons console. Let it watch, Cole said calmly. Let it record everything. Let it carry this information back to High Chancellor Vorath and his council. Because they need to understand what they just did. What do you mean? Cross asked. Cole smiled, but there was no warmth in it. They tried to exile us, to punish us, to remove a threat from their territory. What they actually did was set us free. Free from their rules. Free from their limitations. Free from their fear? The Council just gave humanity permission to become something they cannot control. The scout ship lingered for over an hour, its sensors sweeping across the gateway network, the colony worlds, the massive infrastructure that should not exist. Then it turned and jumped back toward Council space, carrying proof that would shake the foundations of galactic civilization. What happens now? Lieutenant Cross asked quietly. Now, Cole said, we prepare for the consequences. The Council will panic when they see what we have built. Some species will be angry. Some will be frightened. But some will be curious. Some will ask themselves why they should accept Council limitations when humans found a better way. You think other species will join us? I know they will, Cole replied, watching as Station Prometheus grew to fill the viewport. Because we are not just offering them technology or resources. We are offering them something the Council never could. What is that? Freedom to grow. Freedom to explore. Freedom to reach their full potential without fear holding them back. The Perseverance docked with Station Prometheus, and Ambassador Cole prepared to welcome humanity to its new home. The Council had voted to exile Earth, expecting humans to slink away defeated. Instead, humanity had revealed that they were never playing by Council rules at all. They had been building something greater in the shadows, waiting for the moment they could step into the light. That moment had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same. High Chancellor Vorath stood before the Emergency Council Assembly, his 4 eyes fixed on the holographic display that showed impossible images. Behind him, representatives from 300 species watched in stunned silence as the evidence played out before them. Station Prometheus rotating slowly in space. Massive and ancient and undeniably real. Human colonies spreading across 50 worlds that should not exist. Gateway structures pulsing with energy that the Council had spent 5,000 years trying to forget. All of it captured by their scout ship before it fled back to Council territory. This cannot be real, Ambassador Circuth hissed, his reptilian scales flickering through colors that showed deep distress. Humans have only been in space for 70 years. They could not have built this. They did not build it, Technical Director Melvine said, her insectoid mandibles clicking nervously. They found it. They found what we hid, what we swore would never be discovered. Vorath felt his tentacles tightening with barely controlled rage. Someone explained to me why I am only learning now that there are ancient structures in the HEE, Forbidden Zone, and why those structures were never destroyed. The Council chamber fell into uncomfortable silence. Finally, Council Historian Plevin spoke, his aged voice trembling. Because, High Chancellor, 5,000 years ago our ancestors made a decision. They found ruins of the architect civilization in that region. Technology far beyond our understanding. Technology that could have advanced our entire civilization by thousands of years. Then why hide it? Demanded the Hive Collective representative. Because the architects are gone, Plevin replied. A civilization that could build such wonders simply vanished. Our ancestors believed that their technology was too dangerous, that whatever destroyed them might destroy us too. So they created false sensor readings to make the region appear deadly. They declared it forbidden. They chose safety over advancement. And humans chose advancement over safety, Vorath said bitterly. He turned to face the assembly. For 40 years, they have been lying to us. Building colonies in forbidden space, studying ancient technology in violation of our most sacred laws, creating a secret civilization that rivals the Council itself. What do we do? Asked Economic Director Valthese. They have broken every regulation we have. They must face consequences. What consequences? Surkath laughed harshly. We already exiled them. They accepted it with a smile because they never needed us in the first place. Before Varath could respond, every security alarm in the council building activated simultaneously. Guards rushed toward the chamber entrances. Blast doors began to close. But none of it mattered, because Ambassador Marcus Cole was already standing in the center of the room. He had not come through any door. He had not passed any checkpoint. One moment the chamber was empty except for council members. The next moment, the human ambassador stood among them, as if he had always been there. "Good morning, High Chancellor," Cole said pleasantly. "I hope you do not mind the unannounced visit. I tried to schedule an appointment, but your staff said the council was not accepting human delegations anymore. How did you get in here?" Voreth demanded, his voice shaking with fury and something else. Something that felt uncomfortably like fear. "The same way we accessed your communication network. Ks. The same way we have been monitoring council activities for 3 months. The same way we have been operating in your forbidden zone for 40 years. Cole smiled. "Your security systems are designed to stop species who respect boundaries and follow procedures. They work less well against species who see every wall as a challenge to overcome." "Guards," Vorath shouted. "Are sleeping," Cole assured him. "Neural stunner. Non-lethal. They will wake up in about an hour with mild headaches. We are not here to harm anyone. We are here to talk." He placed a small crystal device on the council table. Holographic displays erupted from it, filling the chamber with images that made every representative gasp. 50 human colonies, each one thriving with millions of inhabitants. 19 gateway structures, all operational and connected. Mining operations, extracting resources worth more than the entire council economy. Research facilities where human scientists worked alongside ancient technology that had been forbidden for millennia. And ships. Thousands of ships built using designs that made council vessels look like ancient relics. For 20,000 years. Cole said, his voice carrying to every corner of the vast chamber. The Galactic Council has maintained power through control. You control faster than light technology, so you control who travels between stars. You control trade routes, so you control which species prosper. You control access to resources, so you control who can grow. Everything is designed to ensure that no single species can ever challenge council authority. It has kept the galaxy at peace, Vorath protested. It has kept the galaxy stagnant, Cole corrected. Your population has not grown significantly in 5,000 years. Your technology has barely advanced. You have not explored beyond your established borders in millennia. You call it peace. We call it imprisonment. And you think your way is better, Malvine challenged. I think our way is different, Cole replied. The council found the architect ruins and chose to bury them out of fear. Humans found them and chose to study them out of curiosity. You saw danger in advancement. We saw opportunity. He gestured to the holographic displays showing the gateway network. These structures represent technology that could transform galactic civilization. Instant travel between distant star systems. Energy generation that makes your fusion reactors look primitive. Sensors that can detect threats from parsecs away. Communication systems that operate in real time across the galaxy. The architects built this network as a gift for whoever came after them, but the council found it and hid it away. Because we did not understand it. Voreth shouted. Because the architects disappeared, and we feared the same fate. So you chose ignorance over knowledge. Fear over courage. Stagnation over growth. Cole's voice hardened. That is your right, High Chancellor, but it is not humanity's choice. We came to offer you partnership. Partnership. Surkath laughed bitterly. You mean surrender? You want us to become dependent on your gateway network? To accept human dominance? You still do not understand, Cole said quietly. He pulled up new data showing resource surveys, energy production, and industrial capacity. The frontier expanse has everything we need. More habitable worlds than all of Council space. More resources than we could use in 1,000 years. More ancient technology than we could study in 10,000. We do not need your trade. We do not need your resources. We do not need you at all. The chamber fell into shocked silence. Then why come here? Plevin asked softly. Because isolation is not advancement either, Cole replied. Because we believe civilization works better when species cooperate instead of compete. Because we believe the galaxy is safer when knowledge is shared instead of hoarded. And because of this, the display changed, showing alien script and mathematical formulas that made the translation system struggle. We found something in the architect ruins. A warning. They did not just disappear because they wanted to. They ran. They discovered something beyond the galactic rim. Something that made them abandon everything they had built. And according to their calculations, that threat is still out there. Still moving? Still coming? When? Vorith demanded. Their projections suggest approximately 470 years until it reaches inhabited space. 5 centuries is a long time, Valthus said dismissively. 5 centuries is nothing, Cole countered. The architects had thousands of years of advancement, and they chose to flee instead of fight. We have 5 centuries to prepare for something that terrified a civilization far more advanced than either humans or the Council. He turned to address the entire assembly. You can verify the data yourselves. It is all on the crystal. But here's what you need to know. 3 Council species have already sent diplomatic missions to Station Prometheus. The Meraxi Federation, the Crystalline Collective, and the Nomadic Clans. They are interested in what we are offering. They will vote to leave the Council and join the Frontier Alliance within days. That is impossible, Vorith whispered. They would never betray the Council. Check your secure channels, Cole suggested. I will wait. Nade rushed forward with the tablet. Vorith's color shifted 3 times as he read the confidential messages from species he had thought were loyal allies. How? He managed to ask. We showed them what is possible when fear does not make the decisions, Cole said simply. When advancement is not sacrificed for the illusion of safety. When potential is not limited by ancient regulations that no longer serve any purpose except to maintain power for those who already have it. He walked toward the chamber exit. Somehow knowing exactly where the doors were despite never having been in this room before. You have 30 days to decide, High Chancellor. Join the Frontier Alliance as equal partners, or continue as you have been. Either way, humanity is finished asking permission to grow. The doors opened before him. He paused in the doorway. Council voted to exile us because you feared what we might become. Now you know what we already are. The question is what you choose to become next. He left them in chaos, voices rising in argument and alarm. Outside, Dr. Okonkwo waited with the security team. All guards will recover fully, she reported. No permanent damage. Cole nodded. Good. I would hate for our first act as an independent power to be violence. Do you think they will accept the offer? Some will. Some will not. But change is coming whether they want it or not. We have proven their way is not the only way. And if they choose hostility? Cole looked back at the council building, where the most powerful beings in the galaxy were realizing their power was no longer absolute. Then they will learn what every human child knows. The future belongs to those brave enough to reach for it. 6 days after Ambassador Cole's infiltration, the Galactic Council met again in emergency session. The chamber that had witnessed 20,000 years of debate now felt like a pressure vessel about to explode. High Chancellor Voroth stood at the center platform, surrounded by chaos. 7 species have officially withdrawn from the Council. Fleet Marshal Drexus reported, his armored carapace reflecting the harsh emergency lighting. 12 more have opened formal diplomatic channels with the humans. Another 20 are openly debating whether to leave. We are losing control. The Meraxi Federation has begun converting their shipyards to gateway technology, Economic Director Valthus added. The Crystalline Collective is abandoning traditional trade routes. The nomadic clans have done something they never do. They have stopped wandering. They have built a permanent settlement near Station Prometheus. Boroth felt the weight of 20,000 years of history pressing down on him. Show me the economic projections. The holographic displays painted a grim picture. Council trade revenues were collapsing as species discovered they could bypass regulations. Entirely using the human gateway network, 40% reduction within 2 years. At that rate, the Council would not be able to maintain its peacekeeping fleets or its infrastructure. Military options? Vorath asked quietly. Dr. Exus hesitated. Against the Frontier Alliance? Their defensive capabilities remain unknown, but based on what we have observed, direct military action would be extremely risky. They can concentrate forces through the gateway network faster than we can respond. Their ships use ancient defensive systems our weapons were never designed to counter, so we do nothing. Watch everything we built collapse? A figure emerged from the shadows at the edge of the chamber. Ambassador Thorn of the Obsidian Empire, a species that had remained carefully neutral throughout the crisis. The Obsidians were ancient, wealthy, and notorious for their patience and their cruelty. Not nothing, High Chancellor, Thorn said, his crystalline teeth glinting. The Obsidian Empire has been observing this situation with great interest. We have a proposal. We're listening, Vorath said carefully. The Obsidians never offered help without demanding a steep price. The humans made a critical miscalculation, Thorn continued, moving to the center of the chamber with predatory grace. They assume everyone welcomes rapid change and unlimited expansion. They assume all species want to abandon tradition for progress. They are wrong. He activated displays showing species that Cole had not mentioned. The old powers of the galaxy. Civilizations that had dominated the Council for thousands of years. The Zenthari Imperium. The Vorten Hegemony. The elder clans of Arcturus. These species built their were over millennia within the Council system. They have everything to lose if the Frontier Alliance succeeds. They do not fear ancient technology. They fear becoming irrelevant. What are you proposing? Balthus demanded. An alliance within the alliance. The Preservation Coalition. Species dedicated to maintaining the traditional order. We pool our military forces, our economic power, our political influence. We establish a blockade around the frontier expanse. We cut off human access to Council space. We make it clear there is a price for destabilizing 20,000 years of galactic peace. That is a declaration of war, Drexus warned. Only if the humans make it one, Thorn replied smoothly. If they are as reasonable as they claim, they will accept the situation. They keep their expanse. We keep our Council. 2 civilizations, separate but stable. Meanwhile, on Station Prometheus, Ambassador Cole faced his own crisis, meeting with grim determination. 6 days, Admiral Riker reported. That is how long before the Preservation Coalition's blockade becomes fully operational. They are positioning fleets at every gateway connection point to Council space. 27 species have joined them, including most of the major military powers. Dr. Okonkwo pulled up tactical displays that showed the strategic situation deteriorating rapidly. If this becomes a military conflict, we might win eventually. But the casualties on both sides would be catastrophic.
Right.
Then we do not let it become war, Cole said firmly. How? Riker demanded. They are forcing a choice. Submit to isolation or fight for access to Council space. Cole paced the command center, his mind racing through possibilities. They think in terms of borders and territory. We need to think differently. The gateways. We have been using them to connect fixed points in space. But the architect records suggest they were capable of much more. What do you mean? Okonkwo asked. Could we modify the gateway network to create connections outside the galactic plane entirely? Bypass Council territory completely and link to unexplored regions on the far side of the galaxy. The scientist's eyes widened. You mean make the conflict irrelevant by simply not needing access to Council space at all? Exactly. There are entire spiral arms on the opposite side of the galaxy that no one has surveyed because the journey would take decades with traditional faster-than-light travel. But with modified gateways, we could open completely new frontiers, Okonkwo breathed. Resources. Habitable worlds, Everything we need, without any connection to Council space? And something else, Cole added urgently. If the architect warning is real, the threat is coming from beyond the rim. By expanding outward instead of fighting over existing territory, we position ourselves to meet that threat directly instead of being trapped behind Council borders when it arrives. That could work, Riker admitted, but it is also incredibly risky. We would be dividing our forces while facing a potential blockade and exploring completely unknown territory simultaneously. We would be doing what humanity does best, Cole replied, turning every limitation into an opportunity. Before anyone could respond, every alarm in the command center activated at once. The tactical displays lit up with sensor contacts that should not exist. Unknown vessel approaching from deep space, the sensor officer reported, confusion clear in her voice. Not from Council territory. From inside the expanse? From regions we have not explored yet. That is impossible, Riker said. We would have detected any ship that size during our surveys. It did not come from inside the galaxy, sir, the officer replied, her hands shaking as she processed the data. The trajectory suggests it originated from beyond the galactic rim. From extragalactic space, Cole felt ice forming in his chest. On screen, the vessel that appeared was unlike anything in human or Council records. Its design was organic, flowing curves that seemed to shift and change as they watched. The hull appeared to be alive, pulsing with bioluminescence, and carved into its surface were symbols that matched the ancient architect language perfectly. Are those architects? Okonkwo whispered. I thought they transcended to higher dimensions. Maybe not all of them, Cole said quietly. Communications. Can you establish contact? They are already transmitting, sir. Audio only. The voice that emerged from the speakers was haunting. Multiple tones layered over each other, creating harmonics that made everyone in the command center feel uncomfortable at a fundamental level. The translation system struggled but finally produced comprehensible words. Children of Earth, we are the Watchers. We remained behind when the architects fled to higher dimensions. We have observed your species with great interest. You have reactivated the gateway network. You must understand what you have done. The gateways are not merely transportation devices. They are beacons. Signals that broadcast across dimensional barriers into spaces your science cannot detect. You have announced your presence to everything that dwells in the darkness between galaxies. The transmission paused. When it resumed, the voice carried an emotion that translated as deep sorrow. The architects built the gateway network during a time of peace and prosperity. They used it to connect their civilization across thousands of worlds. But the signals attracted attention. Something came. Something ancient and hungry. The architects called them the Harvesters. They consume advanced civilizations, absorbing their technology, their knowledge, their biological distinctiveness. The architects fled to higher dimensions to escape them. We remained behind to watch and to warn. Cole's hands gripped the edge of the command console. When are they coming? You misunderstand, the Watcher replied. They are not coming. They are already here. The architect warning you found was not a prediction. It was a countdown. 500 years ago, the Harvesters detected the gateway activation that the architects made before they fled. They have been traveling toward this galaxy ever since. Your reactivation of the network simply confirmed their target. The displays suddenly filled with new contacts. Dozens of them. Hundreds. Unknown vessels emerging from the void beyond the galactic rim, moving in coordinated formation toward inhabited space. Range. Riker demanded. First wave will reach outer territories in 40 days, the sensor officer reported, her voice hollow with shock. Main force in approximately 200 days? Now Cole stared at the approaching contacts, watching humanity's greatest achievement turn into potentially their greatest disaster. The gateway network that was supposed to free them from Council control had instead rung a dinner bell that echoed across the cosmos. Get me a secure channel to High Chancellor Vorath, he said quietly. Right now. Sir, they are preparing for war against us, Riker protested. They were preparing for war, Cole corrected. Now they are about to realize that we have a much bigger problem. The Council and the Frontier Alliance were about to fight over borders and trade routes. We just activated a lighthouse that has been dark for 5,000 years, and everything in the surrounding darkness saw it light up. The ancient neutral station between Council and Frontier territories had never seen anything like this. High Chancellor Voreth stood on one side of a massive table. Ambassador Marcus Cole stood on the other. Between them floated holographic displays showing sensor data that neither side could deny or ignore. Hundreds of unknown contacts, moving through deep space toward the galaxy, coming from the void beyond the rim where nothing should exist. The harvesters were no longer a warning in ancient records. They were real, they were coming. And both the Council and humanity had run out of time to prepare alone. "Show them everything," Voreth said heavily. His four eyes dimmed with exhaustion. The displays filled with data from Council sensor networks spanning 20,000 years of galactic history. Mass extinction events that had been attributed to natural disasters. Dead worlds with atmospheres burned away by weapons that left no other trace. Archaeological sites where entire civilizations had simply vanished overnight, leaving behind only ruins and silence. "We thought these were isolated incidents," Voreth explained. "Random catastrophes scattered across millions of years. We never connected them because we did not want to see the pattern." "The pattern is clear now," Dr. Patricia Okonkwo said quietly, pulling up comparative analysis. "Every extinction event corresponds to periods of rapid technological advancement in the affected civilizations. Every dead world shows evidence of having achieved space travel and advanced energy generation. The harvesters do not attack primitive species. They target civilizations that reach a certain level of development. And the gateways act as amplifiers," Cole added. "The Watchers explained it to us. Normal technological advancement produces signals that the harvesters can detect across relatively short distances. But gateway activation produces dimensional resonance that broadcasts across the entire universe. We did not just ring a dinner bell. We fired a signal flare visible from other galaxies." Ambassador Surkith of the Preservation Coalition shifted uncomfortably, his scales flickering with colors that showed shame and fear. "We were preparing to blockade you, to go to war over territory and trade routes, while something far worse was already approaching." "We were all blind," Cole said. "You were blind to the possibilities of advancement. We were blind to the dangers. The architects tried to have both. They advanced too quickly without understanding the risks. When the harvesters came, they had achieved dimensional transcendence, so they could flee to higher planes of existence. We cannot do that. For us, there is nowhere to run." "Then what do we do?" Ambassador Thorne demanded. Even the usually calculating Obsidian seemed rattled by the scope of the threat. The Watcher's voice filled the chamber, its layered harmonics making everyone feel deeply uncomfortable. The luminescent being floated at the edge of the room, existing partially in normal space and partially in dimensions no one else could perceive. "You must do what the architects would not," the Watcher said. "You must fight, and you must win. Because if the harvesters succeed here, they will use your gateway network and your technology to spread faster than ever before. This is not merely about survival. This is about stopping them permanently or condemning every other developing civilization in this region of space." "How long do we have?" Fleet Marshal Drexus asked. 40 days until their first wave reaches outer territories. 200 days until their main force arrives at inhabited core worlds. 200 days to prepare for war against an enemy that made the architects flee." Economic Director Valthus shook his head. "That is impossible." "The architects did not fight," Cole said firmly. "They ran. That might have been their mistake. Maybe these harvesters have never faced a civilization that chose to stand its ground." He stood straighter, addressing everyone in the room. For 20,000 years, the Council maintained peace through controlled growth and shared defense. For 40 years, humanity has pursued rapid advancement and innovation. Both approaches had value. Neither is sufficient for what is coming. We need something new. "What are you proposing?" Voreth asked. "Total unity. Not an alliance. Not a treaty, a merger. The Council's organizational structure and industrial capacity, combined with humanity's gateway technology and willingness to take risks, the Preservation Coalition's military strength, combined with the Frontier Alliance's advanced defensive systems. We pool everything. Every resource, every technology, every strategic mind. No borders, no politics, no fear of what the other side might do. You are describing the end of the Council as an independent civilization, Thorne observed. I am describing evolution, Cole corrected. The Council tried to preserve the past. We tried to build a separate future. The Harvesters do not care about our politics or our history. They will consume us equally unless we become something neither the Council nor the Alliance could be alone. And command structure? Vorath asked. Distributed, Dr. Okonkwo answered. No single leader. Humanity leads technological research and gateway operations. The Council leads logistics and resource coordination. Each species contributes according to its strengths. We become a true union of equals. The Watchers can provide intelligence the being offered. We have observed the Harvesters for millennia. We know their tactics, their weaknesses, their technology. But knowledge means nothing without those who can act on it. We can guide you. We cannot fight for you. Call it the Lighthouse Protocol, Cole said. Yes, we activated beacons that attracted danger. But a lighthouse is not just a signal. It is a warning to hazards and a guide to safety. We transformed the gateway network into exactly that, a defensive grid that detects the Harvesters and repels them. The ancient technology can be weaponized, Okonkwo added eagerly. The gateways were never just for transportation. They are multi-dimensional manipulation devices. With enough study and cooperation between human and Council scientists, we can turn them into weapons, shields, and sensor networks that the Harvesters have never encountered. Vorath looked around the room at species that had been preparing for war against each other days ago. The weight of 20,000 years of tradition pressed down on him. But so did the weight of responsibility for billions of lives across hundreds of worlds. 20,000 years, he said softly. The Council has existed for 20,000 years. You ask us to transform it completely in 200 days. I ask you to save it, Cole replied. The Council was built to maintain peace through unity. That principle does not change. Only the methods must evolve. We expand the unity to include everyone. We make the peace strong enough to defend against external threats, not just manage internal disputes. The High Chancellor extended a tentacle across the table. Cole grasped it firmly. The Council votes to accept the Lighthouse Protocol, Vorath announced. Not as defeat, but as transformation. The Galactic Council becomes the Galactic Union, a true alliance defending our galaxy against all threats. Over the next 200 days, the galaxy changed faster than it had in 5,000 years. The gateway network expanded to every major system as shared infrastructure. Council shipyards began producing hybrid vessels that combined traditional engineering with ancient gateway technology. Human scientists worked alongside Council researchers, making discoveries neither could achieve alone. Military forces from hundreds of species trained together, learning to coordinate despite vastly different biologies and combat philosophies. The Watchers provided detailed intelligence about Harvester, tactics, and technology. The ancient beings had observed dozens of civilizations fall to the Harvesters over millions of years. They knew the patterns, the strategies, the weaknesses that could be exploited. When the first Harvester wave arrived, they found something unprecedented in their long history of conquest. Not a divided civilization, easy to overwhelm. Not a panicked species, easy to harvest. But a galaxy united, speaking with one voice, fighting with coordinated purpose. The first contact war lasted 17 years. The Harvesters were powerful, adaptable, and absolutely relentless. They had consumed hundreds of civilizations across millions of years. Their technology was built from the remains of every species they had destroyed. They had never known defeat, but they had never faced a galaxy that chose to stand together. The turning point came at the Battle of Gateway Prime, when human tactical innovation combined with Council strategic planning and Watcher intelligence. Modified gateway arrays created dimensional feedback loops that trapped an entire Harvester fleet in space that folded back on itself. The enemy ships simply ceased to exist. Scattered across dimensions, they could not navigate or survive. After that victory, the war became a contest of adaptation. The Harvesters changed their tactics. The Union changed faster. Each battle taught new lessons that were immediately shared across all Union forces. Technology advanced in months that would have taken decades under the old system. Slowly, sector by sector, system by system. The Union pushed them back. When the last Harvester vessel was destroyed at the Galactic Rim, Ambassador Marcus Cole stood in what was now called the Unity Chamber. The great hall that had once witnessed his exile now celebrated victory won through cooperation. "We were exiled for being different," Cole said to the assembled representatives of 300 species. "For advancing too fast. For refusing to accept limitations. The Council thought we were dangerous." "They were right," he smiled. "But what they did not understand, what we have all learned together, is that progress and danger are inseparable. Safe civilizations stagnate and die. Growing civilizations take risks and thrive. The question was never whether to embrace danger, but whether to face it alone or together." Vorith, now retired but present as an honored elder, spoke with his tentacles raised in agreement. "Humanity taught us courage. We taught humanity wisdom. Together, we became something greater than either civilization alone." "The Harvesters will return," Cole acknowledged. "This was only their vanguard. But when they come again, they will find a galaxy that has learned the lesson the architects never mastered. That running is not evolution. That true strength comes from standing your ground and fighting for what you believe in." The Unity Chamber erupted with sounds of affirmation from 1,000 different species united in purpose and triumph. The Council had voted to exile Earth, expecting humans to disappear into the darkness instead. Humanity had lit a beacon that saved an entire galaxy.